How do I trust God when I don't understand? Jesus is confusing. He doesn't act the way we expect him to. Does that mean something's wrong with us? In this video, we're going to see that we're not the first to be confused. I'm Pastor Mike, and this channel is called Scripture That Makes a Difference, because I believe Scripture has made a difference in my life, and it can make a difference in yours as well. So each video in this channel aims to show how the passage under consideration makes a difference in today's world. This episode is part of a series I call Wednesday Wisdom, where I try to apply the wisdom of Scripture to issues that you may be wondering about. If this is your first time here, you can learn more about this channel by reading the description below. And if you find that this is the kind of content that's helpful for you, just click the subscribe button and you'll get more. In this video, we're going to hear one of the greatest heroes of the faith question Jesus, essentially asking Jesus if he knows what he's doing. And if you stick around to the end, you'll see that Jesus not only didn't get angry, but embraced the doubter. The passage we're looking at this week is Matthew 11, verses 1 through 15. In the context, Jesus' popularity is growing very rapidly with the masses, but it's decreasing quite a bit with those who have power. And John the Baptist, in the midst of this, sends Jesus a message explaining his confusion about the way things are developing. Now, it's helpful for us to remember that John has limited firsthand experience with what Jesus is doing because he's in prison for standing up to Herod. So John has to send some of his disciples to check up on the reports that have him so confused. The question he tells them to ask Jesus is, "Are you the one? Or should we look for another? Are you really the Messiah? Or is another coming?" Apparently, John had some expectations about Jesus' behavior that Jesus wasn't actually living up to. The details aren't given to us, but it was enough for John to think that he had to check it out. And in verses 4 through 6, we see that rather than answering directly, Jesus instructs John's disciples to report the evidence of what Jesus was actually doing. The blind were receiving their sight, the lame were walking, lepers were cleansed, the deaf could hear, even the dead were raised, and the poor were hearing the good news. In essence, Jesus corrected John's misconception of what the Messiah would be like, instead of explaining his behavior. Now, it would seem that others in the crowd heard the interchange, and Jesus was moved to answer questions that might rise in the audience's mind. He starts by questioning what they expected to see when they went out into the desert to listen to John. And he told them that they didn't really expect to see a socially acceptable teacher when they went out to the desert. What they saw actually lined up more with an Old Testament prophet. And in verses 11 through 15, Jesus connects John to the Old Testament prophecy of Malachi 3:1. "Behold, I send my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me." In essence, announcing that John the Baptist was the last Old Testament prophet. But before we move on, I want to make sure that we notice Jesus' attitude towards John's question. Not rejection, but patience. He gently gave evidence to John that it was John who had to adjust his thinking, not Jesus. And that's the bonus for us, that the acceptance Jesus extended to John is still offered today. If you have doubts, don't panic. Don't flee. Face them honestly. Jesus wants to help you. Keep reading his word, keep praying, and as often as possible, rub elbows with other believers in cell groups or home Bible studies and at worship services. Eventually, he'll make more sense. So what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Do you have a different perspective? Maybe you have questions you'd like to ask. Any of these can go in the comments below, and I'd be happy to try to respond as soon as possible. And you can leave suggestions for future content, perhaps a passage that you find confusing, and I can try to show how it helps us live our life today. If you like hearing how specific passages can make a difference today, click the subscribe button and click the bell so you're the first to know when I've released new episodes. And don't forget that you can help get the difference-making message of the Scripture to others by sharing this video in your social media. And if you happen to live anywhere near Enid, Oklahoma, please come by and visit us. Our address is on our Facebook page. The link is below. Our services take place at 10 o'clock in the morning every Sunday, and this weekend you can hear about other misunderstandings of Jesus' message. And until next time, keep searching. Jesus can be found.